All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Living the Dream podcast. Today on the show, we have Donna Conley, who is an advocate for mental health, a moon healer, an energy coach, and a national best-selling, award-winning author of Wild Moon Healing. Harness the energy of lunar cycles to awaken your inner truth. Donna, how you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Of course, thanks for coming on, and we'd like to jump right in. So if you could start with just telling us a little bit more about yourself and what you like to do for fun, that'd be great.
Oh, fun. I love to be outside. I have two herniated discs right now, so I'm not doing any hiking, but that's my all time to get really connected with nature. You
I
know,
got you.
if in the middle of the day, in the middle of summer, you're looking for me on the beach, you won't find me. I'd rather be in the mountains or by a lake. Definitely more of a night person than a day person.
I got
So, yeah, definitely that's probably why I like the moon more than follow the moon instead of the sun. Um, for a living, I am a human resource manager. I have a master's degree and I've had a 20 some year career in human resources. But somewhere along the line, my career turned into a job and a little unrewarding. And so now I'm trying to transition into a new way of helping people. So the more that I heal myself, the more I want to help people achieve the same level of healing, which led to my book and led to me becoming a meditation teacher and a sound healer. And um, I went to Duke Health, and that's where I was certified as a coach. And this fall, I'm going to do a submersive trauma training um, program to help me help others more. So it's everything's changing. It's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really exciting. And so still by day, you're a human resource manager and you're making that transition into more of the coaching healer. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Like last weekend, I did a few craft fairs, holistic fairs, launching my book. And I did some energy healing there using tuning forks. So I did a little bit of breath work with visualization and sound from the tuning forks to do like a chakra alignment. And
Uh-huh.
people were very interested. My approach to things are different. It's not what people have seen before. So I like to shake things up.
I gotcha. I gotcha. And so what kind of made you start looking into all of the moon healing, energy coach, and what prompted the book?
Well, I was very sick. I and still to I've never had any type of diagnosis or anything, but I was in the hospital for weeks and I just knew that my lifestyle obviously affected my physical self, and I was like I need to change. I didn't know where to start. And so I tried with the physical healing at first, and then at a certain point in time I realized I had to go inside and heal from the inside out. And so that led me to all these healing modalities. My very first one was EFT. Um, and growing up in the church, I was conflicted when I was finding these things that were working for me. So so there was this battle inside my head as I was going. But EFT brought me out of a really dark place. I'd been diagnosed with depression and all these things, and I'm like, how did this even happen? Um, and yeah, so the more I learned, the more I started meditating and breath work and these different things that for me were out of the box at the time. Um, I just, when you realize you're just smiling for no reason, because I was very, very depressed. When I went to my doctor, I couldn't even tell her what was wrong. I'd open my mouth and I would just start crying. And she's like, I think you're depressed. But yeah, and then it's like once I realized, I was happy for no reason, I was like, okay, this stuff is working for me. And then my friends started noticing what's going on with you, Donna, because we like it. So tell us what you're doing. And so I said, well, I'm manifesting with the moon. So I started linking up certain activities and certain journaling prompts with moon phases. And so we started a little group called Sisterhood of Wild Moon Healers. I was still afraid to tell people because I was afraid of what they would say to me, and you're crazy or something. But so that I started doing these moon reports to them, and everything that I was learning, I was teaching them. And then I tore my Achilles back in 2021. And I was like, God just stopped me. And he's like, we're going to make you immobile. And because you need to write a book. So those reports that I was writing to my friends became a rough draft for my book.
There we go. There we go. So there was a lot of depression. You had just gotten to a really dark place in your life, and you realized you need to switch up your lifestyle. Started with the physical stuff, then you went inside, and that led to some kind of a focus on the energy healing, linking up with the
Yeah.
moon, focus on sound healing and meditation and breath work. Is that right?
Yeah, but yeah, my journey became more spiritual and inward than I anticipated. Yeah.
I gotcha. And are you still in the church, or have you left the church?
No, no, I'm Baptist. People try to put me in a box.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'm sort of a witchy Baptist. I don't know what you want to call me. Why, people want to label people, but my connection to the earth is I just believe in this vast energetic network, but I think God made it so.
Hmm.
It's the earth is so healing, and when you think about it, God created it, so of course it's going to be healing. Just I think that's why I love nature and love to be out
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
I gotcha. And so is that kind of how you ended up reconciling it? It's like, oh, this is kind of weird. It's not what I was taught growing up, but God made the earth, and that's why it's good for me.
Yeah, that's where I am now. Yeah. It's because even my dad was like, "Would you still believe in God?" I was like, "Of course I believe in God," you know.
Yeah.
So people question my faith through the whole thing, but it got to a point where I was very confident in what I feel and what I believe. And so it's not so bad if someone questions me now.
I gotcha. Well, tell us a bit more about your motivation. What really gets you up and keeps you going every day?
Well, just my dream for the world is to have no depression, no type 2 diabetes. Suicide should be rare. 22 a day should not be a thing. And it's tough to do a full-time job while creating something on the side, but I know that what I do for the rest of my time here on earth, I am just committed to creating and ripples that will create generational healing. It's the more you heal yourself, you heal your parents, you heal your whole family, and you heal generations that aren't even here yet because of the healing that's happening now.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's it. I mean, it's tough. It really is, especially when I was writing the book. The book was a job and a half plus my full-time job,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I'm very committed to helping people that are in a dark place where I was. I haven't had a cigarette in almost 7 years. I've been sober for over 2. These lifestyle things, they really affect you. What I used to call having fun is not even remotely fun to me anymore, but you do what you have to heal and things, even though if that's you don't realize that it's a healing mechanism.
Yeah.
But yeah, trauma affects people in different ways, and everyone has some sort of trauma out there. And
Yeah.
yeah.
No, absolutely. I appreciate you sharing that. And so that takes us right into dreams and goals, actually. And so tell us a bit more about the book before we start listing off the dreams and goals and just what the book entails, kind of dive deep into it for us.
Well, I talk about a whole bunch of healing modalities. I talk about my theory on restorative healing things and different modalities, and I link it into following lunar cycles. So with a new moon, you want to think big. You want to think, what do I want in a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Come up with this big dream, but you have to let go of what it looks like and you have to focus on what it feels like because it can look like anything. When it manifests, sometimes I'm like, okay, you've got a sense of humor up there because, but I always pray, I'm like, don't let me miss it because I have a picture of what I want, but it's that feeling. You have to go after the feeling. And then your focus changes as the lunar cycle goes around, so every month that you have this big goal. It's like, what can I do in the next 4 weeks that gets me closer to my goal? And just if you're working on yourself all month, every month, then you're working on self-healing, you're working on achieving your goals and creating the life you want.
I
So
gotcha.
that's what the book is about. Yeah.
And so what made you land on linking it up with lunar cycles specifically? Because I know, like, this is one thing I tell people. Like, some people listen to my podcast and they'll be like, "Oh, you talk to an energy healer," or "Oh, you you talk to somebody who does stuff with lunar cycles or law of attraction or abundance, whatever it is," right? And I'll be like, "Yeah, it's all like a lot of people use different words to describe a lot of the similar concepts." And so I'm
Yes.
curious what made you land on lunar, kind of linking it up with the lunar cycle, because you talked about really practical things like goal oriented, thinking big, focusing on the feeling. And so, what was the lunar cycle for you specifically?
It was very well, I've always admired the moon, and I just always thought it's so beautiful. Full moons, captivate people, and they're
Yep.
mysterious and everything. And it was a very specific point in time on my healing journey after being diagnosed with depression, and I'm trying to do all these things to change my life for the positive. And I was like, it's another full moon, and I still haven't like gone anywhere. So I was like, well, let's see what I can do by the next full moon. Um, and once I really started focusing on things, I'm like, okay, so the start is the new moon, but I didn't know that at the time. It was just, okay, by the next full moon, let's see what kind of changes I can make. And that's really what started. It was a very, very specific time I can recall.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Well, I like it. I think it's a good way to kind of keep track, hold yourself accountable, and yeah, it just adds value. I like the kind of mysticism of the moon and the grandiosity of the moon. Uh,
Yeah.
so really cool. Well, tell us about some more dreams and goals that you have. So we got impact people such that there's no depression, no suicide, no type 2 diabetes, and create this generational healing. What other dreams and goals do you have?
Well, one of my dreams kind of change as I change and evolve with everything that's going on. But one thing that's never changed is I would want to travel the world. I want to meet exciting people, try new food, learn about new cultures. Like Emerald Lake in Canada, that's on my list. It just is, it's so beautiful. And when you see things with your own eyes and you like, wow, this is so perfect, it just makes you remember that we're not broken. We were made whole. We were made perfect. And, we're just as beautiful as all these things. And people
Hmm,
just see differences as negative, and it's so not. It's so not. So just so many wonderful things out there I just want to see and experience. Um, yeah, I guess that's my huge life dream that has never changed, is just to travel more. Um, yeah, I guess
I gotcha.
that's
I gotcha. So now we got impact people, to get rid of depression, suicide, type 2 diabetes, create that generational healing, and then just travel the world more, meeting new people, trying new foods. Specifically, Emerald Lake in Canada. Why specifically Emerald Lake?
I saw a picture of that. I mean, I have a long list of places I want to go to, but that one was the first one that just jumped in my mind. This picture that I saw, I'm like, there's no way. And everyone's like, the picture doesn't do it justice. And I'm like, that looks so beautiful. How can it be more beautiful than this picture? That's
Yeah.
and it's of course in the mountains. I love to hike and stuff. You have to hike to get there. So yeah, that's one of my things. It's just, especially when you see something in a photo and everyone's like, this doesn't do it justice. And it's just like, that looks
Yeah, it's already so
perfect.
beautiful
Yeah, yeah.
for sure. Well, Donna, just curious. Oh, first, any other dreams or goals that you want to chat about before I start asking more questions?
No, no.
Okay, okay, there we go. Well, Donna, I'm curious. Um, you're still in your HR job, is that right?
Yeah.
How much income would you need to be able to replace that and feel good about replacing it? Like, so, to where you're not
Well,
stressed.
I've said in my head that if for 3 consecutive months my income exceeds my gross income where I'm at now, that's when. But life has a way of pushing you in a direction sometimes. You
Mhm.
never know. Um, I work for a small privately owned company. If they go out of business, that's not a it's scary, but something like that could happen that could push me in a direction sooner than I anticipated. But yeah, in my mind, I'm like, if I match my gross, not my net, but my gross income for 3 consecutive months, then it might be time to
Take the leap.
take the leap.
I gotcha. And so to exceed your gross income, how many clients would you need to sell per month in your like, is it more of a monthly program? Is it a 4 week thing and then no
Yeah,
repeat
well, I'm
customer?
I'm still working on that. I'm working on right now creating a Udemy course,
Hmm.
Wild Moon Healing, so people can do it at their own pace. I do want to, once I finish the trauma training that I'm starting this fall, I want to create coaching programs that are 3 month long. So we go through three lunar cycles together, coaching and teaching them different healing modalities. So those are things I want to do. So I don't really have an answer to that yet because I'm still developing it.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Do you have an idea of what your price will be for those 3 month long trauma coaching mm, groups sessions?
Yeah, probably it might be like around 1,500, 2,000, probably 1,500. I don't want to overprice myself because I want to help people. But considering it's 3 months long, I think something like that would be a reasonable price.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotcha. What price would you be scared to charge? Like it's like, oh, whoa, that's way too much. I can't charge that. What price
Probably
would that be?
5,000, that just jumps in my head, I don't know why.
5,000 for the 3 months?
Yeah, 'cause I would probably say to myself, if I were looking at a program, I'm being like, "Well, I don't know about that."
I gotcha. I
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay. Okay. And do you know how you're going to be marketing your 3 month long trauma coaching programs? Is it going to be more
I
organic or are you going to do paid marketing?
well, I have my social media that I'm growing, it'll be more organic, I might start things locally, there's a church, that I, go to a lot of functions at, that I might start workshops and things like that, locally to grow interest and also get, just in generally get better and get feedback from people that's local before I launch something that's, worldwide.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
gotcha. I gotcha. Cool. Cool. Sorry, in my head now it's 5K for the 3 months, but it's still 1,500. I was about to say, so 5K for the 3 months. Awesome. So you're gonna market it through social media, kind of organically, and then start it locally through workshops to get better and get
Mhm.
feedback.
Yeah. Yeah, I am this summer I want to start doing some pop-up sound healing, sound bath meditations, um, things like that to teach people that everyone is so busy, it's like just slow down a little bit and it's amazing what just a little bit of positive sound can do to you.
Hmm.
And I would guide people with meditation.
I gotcha. I
Yeah.
gotcha. Hmm. Do you know who Alex Hormozy is?
I do not.
Hmm. He's a beast of an entrepreneur. I
Yeah.
mean, the guy is a savage. Him and his wife. Actually, his wife might be the better entrepreneur, but Alex Hormozy is the guy who comes to my feed. Um, but yeah, they're a killer duo. And Alex Hormozy, he talks about this thing called customer financed acquisition. And this might blow your mind because it blew my mind
Uh-huh.
when you're thinking about pricing your 3 month long trauma coaching programs. He said, if you want to be able to scale a business infinitely without having capital as a constraint, without having money as a constraint, because if you had all the money in the world right now, technically you could buy all the customers in the world, right? And so
Right.
his idea is like, if you want to scale this business without having capital as a constraint, and the only thing that's holding you back is how fast you can hire people and how fast you can basically operational execution is what's holding you back. He's like, this is how you need to price your product. Get your cost to acquire the customer plus your cost to fulfill the customer, whatever that cost is, multiply it by two. And that's what you need to receive in profit from the customer within 30 days. So, for example, which I love this because for the longest time, I was like, I didn't want to pay for customers. But then he switched my mindset. He said, it's not the person who wins in business is the person who can pay the most for the customer because the customer is most valuable to you, not the person who um, is basically racing to the bottom of like how low I can acquire a customer for. It's like you want to be able to pay the most, which is why pricing your product high allows you to serve your customer better. So anyway,
Mhm.
I also liked it because it just assumed a cost to acquire. Like for so long, my whole life, I've been trying to figure out how to do stuff for free. And then he was like, no, you just pay to acquire the customer and you factor that into the cost. And then businesses are supposed to be profitable. So you price accordingly. And it just blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, I just never thought of it. So if you're thinking about launching your 3 month long trauma coaching programs here, maybe you wanted to do it earlier than the fall, but if you waited till after the fall and you were thinking through pricing, you'd ask yourself, how much does it cost to acquire the customer? Say it costs $600 to acquire one customer by running Facebook ads. I don't know.
Mhm.
And then your cost to fulfill a customer, say is $300 worth of, if you were to hire a coach to take your place, it would be $300 to $400. And then you factor in all the tech and stuff per customer, say it's $400. So it costs $1,000 to acquire and fulfill that customer over a 3 month period. You need to get $2,000 in profit from that customer, which means you would then need to price it at what, 3K, I think.
3,000. Yeah. Yeah.
hmm
Okay.
And so I really like the model because you can, whatever your cost to acquire the customers, it doesn't matter because you can just factor it into the price. Like if it costs you $1,500 to get one customer, it's worth it because it's going to bring you over $3,000 in profit.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. I need
Yeah.
to work on that. Yeah.
It was exciting and it made me start to view businesses as like, because he also came to the conclusion, he was like, for the longest time I wanted to be that entrepreneur who was investing in his business, investing in his business, investing in his business. And then it dawned upon me, those people who have to continually invest in their business just aren't profitable, and businesses are supposed to be profitable. And so then
Yeah.
he was like, so I set out to be profitable from day one. And so he came up with this customer financed acquisition model.
Yeah. Well, yeah, last weekend when I was doing the craft fairs, there was at yesterday there was a Reiki table right across from me.
hmm
And they were pricing $20 for a Reiki session, but their Reiki sessions were a solid 30 minutes. I was charging 40 and my healing sessions were only like 15 minutes. Um, and I was just as busy as they were, you
Yep.
know. It's it's true. So
Yeah. That's the other interesting thing about pricing. The higher you price it, the more valuable it's perceived to be. And so people might have been excited to pay that $40 for that 15 minutes because they're like, oh, if I'm paying $40 for 15 minutes, it must really be about to change my life. And so then they're more excited to go into it, more committed. And so it's just interesting how the pricing in business works. And
Mhm.
um, yeah, really cool stuff though. Well, cool. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about your dreams and goals, but specifically how you can accomplish them. So, what are your top 1 to 2 skills that you need to develop right now to make these dreams and goals come true?
Well, probably what I think is might not necessarily be true, but like this trauma coaching that I'm doing this fall. It's a 9-month program, so it'll go through April. But if it's healing to me and it's also teaching me to help others, because I really want to really change, you know, things on depression and things people don't talk about. I want to bring it out. I want people to talk about it. So I really feel like that's something I was really called to do, and I am very serious about that. I'm all signed up and paid for it. It starts in September, and I was looking at different books and stuff to read on for social media marketing. People out there are mean, and I don't hit send, but I always reply to all these mean ones. I write it out to get it out, but then I delete it,
hmm
and I don't delete the comments. I just hide them, so that whoever wrote it can see that it's still there. But I'm like, I don't know what to do with social media. I'm learning, but my Facebook is over 5,000, and so that's pretty good. I just really started working on that in December. So, but then my Instagram is 200.
Yeah.
I don't know how this stuff works. So I do want to learn more about social media and how to use. algorithms and how to attract the right kind of people that they're on the same path as me.
Mm, I gotcha. I gotcha. So challenging people to talk about kind of their trauma and the depression people experience. You want the training to be able to do that, and then social media marketing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I gotcha. And what are the top 1 to 2 daily actions that are gonna tick the needle forward towards your dreams and goals? Highest impact daily actions.
Um, for me, it's the same thing I preach to others. Quiet, stillness, meditation, prayer. You need to slow down because the mind gets too busy with, the negative comment that hit Facebook. Sometimes, you just can't get over that or whatever it is.
Yep.
Um, you need to shut it all down. That's very important. So to do something is to do nothing. You just have to. You've got to pick that time, whether you sit in a chair in meditation or whatever it is you're doing. You need to get still and get quiet and clear it and refocus, rebalance on what's important.
Yeah.
So I think everyone should have some sort of daily practice like that. Um, and that's like my big thing that I'm working on now is my daily meditation practice. But you said two things, so what's the other thing I should do? I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
What should
Oh,
I
that's
do?
fine. One is great. One
Yeah.
is great. For sure, for sure. Just curious, Donna, would you be able to launch a coaching program before the end of May? Like, have you
My
healed yourself enough to be able to help somebody else heal to launch by the end of May?
Oh, this year?
Yeah, yeah, like in 37 days.
Um, no, because I'm getting ready to have some surgery so I need time for some physical healing this summer.
I see.
Um, but because of that, no. But I do want to launch my Udemy course. So that way it's out there and just give me residual income once it's created.
Mhm.
So that's my goal to have that out this fall. And I do want to start my coaching program next year.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
Yeah.
How much are you going to charge for the Udemy course?
Well, I was looking on Udemy and it's not I know that they can change the prices, like they can make it go on sale at any time, but it'll be a higher end price. I don't know exactly what their scale is, but probably something like 175 or it'll be one of their higher end cost.
I
Because
gotcha.
what I'm working on, it's very it's a lot of content and special. I'm writing some special meditations and stuff for it and things like that. So
For sure. For sure.
mhm.
I feel you. Well, awesome. What character trait do you most need to develop right now to make your dream life come true?
Um I need to well, I think I really need to focus more on me. I'm all about giving, and it's hard. The receiving end is hard, and it doesn't matter what it is that I'm receiving, but whether it be finances, whether it be love, whatever, that just is so hard for me. And so I need to really work on that and really open myself up to receive more.
Hmm. How could you set yourself up to receive more right now? Like, what are 1 to 2 things you could do to set yourself up to receive more right now? Whether it be love, whether it be money, whether it be health, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, it's always working on self love. So anything that you know, gratitude, just eating healthy, choosing something healthy over something that's not healthy for you. The more you do that's positive for yourself, the more you love yourself and you're able to pick the highest whatever is best for you, then I think that's when you're able to receive more.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, if there were 1 or 2 people you can meet right now, and this could be a specific person or a type of person, and they'd really help you take that next step towards your dreams and goals, who would they be and how would they help you?
I honestly think it's the stranger. It's this person I don't know yet. The person that smiles at you at that time when you really need it, it raises your vibe. They're just in
Hmm.
passing, or that young man you see helping that older lady that he doesn't know who she is, but helping her with the groceries in the parking lot. It's um I believe that when you need something, whatever it is, um, those people come to you at the right time. And then they might not be the ones that come to stay or whatnot, but it's if you ask what's wrong with the world, it's people. But if you ask what's right with the world, the answer is also people.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so it's just those strangers. I don't even know them yet, but those ones that just do something kind, selfless, extraordinary.
Yeah.
Those are the people that make the world go round. Just little things. People don't even know they're doing it. They don't know anyone sees them. Those are
I
the
love it.
people that encourage me.
There we go. There we go. Well, awesome. Now we're going to jump into our thriving three. And the first
All right.
question is, what's your favorite book, movie, or podcast? Pick one of those three.
Book. I was heading out for vacation and I forgot my book. So I'm in the airport and then it was like all this romance stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, please. Does this mean I'm supposed to contemplate the meaning of the universe or, But then I saw this one book and I'm like, okay, this looks exciting. And it was Zorro, the book of Zorro and his life. So started from his parents and he's born and he's raised. That book took me on so many adventures. I was fighting pirates and I was a gypsy and I was having sword fights. Like I could hear the swords hitting each other in my head. I just really got into that book. I don't know what it was. And when I buy a book, I love to read it, but I love to cycle them around.
Uh-huh.
I'm always donating books, but that book I still have upstairs because I've read it a couple times and I'll pick it up again.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Was it like by Isabel Allende?
I don't remember. I remember the cover is like kind of like a greenish color and it has Zorro written across the top.
I gotcha. Was it a dude on a horse type of vibe, like his adventures, the adventures of Zorro type of?
It was, yeah. But
Okay,
it
okay.
started off with his parents and their life, and then they had this baby and he grew up. So it was like the entire life of Zorro.
I gotcha. I
Yeah.
gotcha. Seems like it's a whole series. That's
It
pretty.
was one book, but yeah, I was that took me on a lot of adventures. That was a great book.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, awesome. What's one way you like to take care of yourself?
Um, I actually have a self-care project I'm doing right now that people might not consider to be self-care, but my garage became a storage place for I had my sister's stuff, my stuff. We lost my mom a couple years ago, so I just have stuff and I would for literally for 2 years, I've been going in, but I always go right to the photos. Then I start crying and it's like, "Oh, I'm never gonna get through this." So I hired, a lady named Robin with the Declutter Diva, and that's her job is to help people sort through the clutter, and because it's amazing if you have too much clutter, how unproductive you are.
Hmm.
And we're about 60% of the way through my garage now. And that's in 3 weeks, considering for 2 years I've been trying to work on this garage.
Yeah.
So,
Does
so
she
I
come in
had
person?
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
And, I gave her a key. She comes sometimes when I'm at work. I'm just like, "Just go in, just help me, please."
Yeah.
If it's something of value, she's like, "Okay, you should sell this." Some things she has just taken out, brought it straight to Goodwill, and I'm like, "You have my permission," because you know, there was boxes with my mom's bank statements from 1988, and I'm just like, "Are you serious? Why is this in my garage?" But I didn't even know it was in there. It was just stuff just wound
Yeah.
up in there. So, that's self-care that people don't consider. But decluttering is it's a huge stress relief. It really can open up creative centers and stuff. So I'm going to turn my garage into a home gym when she's
Ooh,
done.
there we go. There we
Yeah.
go. And what is one action step you can take right now or continue to take if you're already doing it too? Meet that person who's just going to smile at you when you really need it. That person who's going to do extraordinary little things.
Well, what you have to do is believe. You have to have faith.
Yeah.
It's whatever source you connect with, God, universe, angels, you just have to have faith and know that when you fall, they're there to pick you up. When you lose your way, they're there to help you get right back on the right path. It's faith. That's
Yeah.
the end. Yep.
Love it. Well, now we're going to jump into our final series of questions, and these are all about limiting beliefs, so they can get a bit personal. If you don't want to answer, just be like, I'll pass, and I'll be like, okay, cool.
Okay.
What is one limiting belief that continues to pop up in your life, if any?
The main one, and it took me a while to get to this, but a lot of inside work, it's I'm unimportant.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I had a pretty traumatizing youth, and I don't have a lot of memories before I was 13, but that theme of being unimportant started when I was young. And yeah, it's like when you don't heal from these limiting beliefs, even if you have no idea what that limiting belief is, it follows you your whole life and you attract situations that reinforce that limiting belief if you
Hmm.
don't work on yourself to figure out what it is and overcome it.
Yeah.
But that was mine. That was the core one. It hurt when I got there. It was painful, but
But
getting to
it's that awareness that's key, because once you're aware, you can
that,
choose a different
yes,
belief.
yeah, yeah,
There we go. And you said it comes from like childhood. That's when it started.
yeah,
Was it more
yeah.
like the parental dynamics, just a societal thing? Both?
Well, I don't have any problem talking about my trauma. When I was very young, my mom had a failed suicide attempt. So that was it's like it stems from abandonment. She would rather not be here, that kind of feeling. When my dad was taking care of my sister and I wound up at a babysitter, and the babysitter was nice, but her husband or boyfriend, whatever he was, beat me really badly one time. He wanted me to stop crying. So he put his hand in his steel-toed boots and started punching me. That's was his way of getting me to stop. So that told me I'm not important. My tears weren't important. And then when I lost my brother, I was 13. He was in his 20s. He was a Marine. It was a car accident. But I'm the baby of the family. And they treated me like the baby of the family. Donna, just wait, they put me off. But I wasn't 3, I was 13. It was
Yeah.
so I just always learned to push stuff down instead of speaking up and saying, whatever, because what I have to say wasn't important, right? Which none of that is true. I'm obviously was very important to my parents and my siblings. Um, but that was that false limiting belief that came from all that.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotcha. And do you have any limiting actions that reinforce this limiting belief today?
No, I'm from, well, becoming having a alcoholism and smoking and all these things that those were all healing mechanisms. They were ways for me to keep my trauma down because you have to feel it to heal it. And if you're not feeling it, then you have to have some sort of input that keeps it down, whether it's playing hours of video games or whatever, whatever your coping mechanism is. Um, so my last one that is my hardest to get over, but what is related to food, because that started when I was 7 years old, was using food for an emotional support.
Hmm.
So I think since that one I've had the longest, that's the hardest one to get over. So I don't do binge eating anymore. I'm pretty much healed from that, but I still have emotional eating that creeps up on me, but I have awareness of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotcha. I gotcha. Well, awesome. Thanks for sharing all that. If you were to change this limiting belief into an abundant phrase that really spoke to your heart in the way that you needed to hear it, what would that phrase be?
I am important. I am worthy of love and I am worthy of abundance. Yeah.
Love it. And when the limiting beliefs start to take over, what thoughts or actions do you resort to in order to take back control?
That's when I get still. I'll start playing my sound bowls or something. I meditate, I pray. I just get back to my roots, my
Yeah.
core, my truth, who I am, and realize that something outside of me that's not true is creating that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love it. And you said something earlier. You have to feel it to heal it. I was just curious, like, this is gonna sound like a really silly question, but why do you think it's as simple as like feeling it and becoming aware of it that just kind of allows it to dissipate?
Well, there's a lot of things that people don't want to be true. There's a lot of things that people, I mean, hurts, right? But the concept of letting it go, for me, it was so complicated, but it's still so easy, because letting it go can look like so many things. And, it's when I talk about healing, it's not dealing with anything outside of you, it's dealing with yourself. So if I say forgiveness, it's not forgiving someone that's done you wrong, but forgiving yourself for the way you reacted, or for this addiction that created from some trauma. You got to forgive yourself for those things. You got to forgive yourself for your past, because you're not your past. Letting it go can just be a good cry. Just let it out. Um, Letting it go can look like so many different things, but you have to feel it to be able to express it and get it out.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Does that make sense?
it does. Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect. You got to feel it to be able to express it and get it out. And
And it hurts to feel it, but what you don't know in the middle of your pain, in the middle of your trauma, is that on the other side of it, the peace that you have, the joy that you can find,
yeah,
you
and I
know.
guess it's also like the reason feeling it is so important is like that's what we're really scared of, because the consequences in and of itself, like in my head, fear is imaginary because I think Will Smith said this. Fear is imaginary, but danger is real. And when there's danger, you're typically not scared. You know what to do, you know how to act. But fear is like you thinking about something that could be bad, and then you get a really negative emotion and you want to stop that emotion. So you go distract yourself with some sort of activity, whether it be video games or smoking or drinking or sex or eating or whatever it may be, right?
Yes.
And so I guess like feeling it allows you to let it go because you realize the very thing you were scared of just isn't, like you've gone through it now and
Yeah.
you can let it go. But
Yeah.
before that, you were holding on.
I launched my first website September of 2021. And I was literally screaming out loud when I hit the button. I was just like, "Oh my gosh, I'm really gonna do this." I was terrified. But, fear and excitement, they kind of can feel the same way. So it's, and
Yeah.
sometimes what you think is one thing, it's actually another. It's just once you go inside and realize, oh, this isn't even scared. This is a little bit of excitement going on here too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, awesome. We got one last question for you. What is your favorite belief about yourself?
Favorite belief about myself
Hmm.
is that actually this came from my sister, and I'm going to say this is my new belief. Healing is my birthright. Healing myself, helping to heal others. That's my new thing. My sister drew this like sigil or something for me at a willow tree, and that's what her she started telling me. So that's been stuck in my head for a long time. So healing is my birthright. I'm allowed to heal. I'm worthy of healing,
There
and
we go.
I can help other people heal.
Well, awesome. Donna, that's all we got for you. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Is there anything else you want to chat about before we sign off?
I can't think of anything.
Okay, well, there we go, guys. If you were listening to this and you loved what Donna had to say, make sure to check her out. All the links to do so will be down in the show notes. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you on the next one. Oh, make sure to grab a copy of Donna's book, send it to a friend, and then check out the Udemy course that you can also refer a friend to and keep on her about pricing that 3-month coaching program correctly. There we go. And on that note, we're out.